Hi, my name is Heather, and it's taken a long time for me to get to this point where I want to talk about all this. Actually, I want to talk about it for a long time, but I kind of was scared of what would happen. Um, so if I get a little emotional about this, I just want to have a voice. Whether one person hears it, no one hears it, a million people hear it, I don't know what to say. And I don't care if anyone believes it or not. I really don't, because it is the truth and it's my experience. Um, I was working for a medical device company, and in 2010, I believe it was, I'd been there 6 years. In 2010, there was a gentleman that I worked with that came into a room where I was working and was having a conversation and started to make some racist remarks that were sort of derogatory or, I guess, just opposing uh, black people moving into his neighborhood. And I don't know if he was hoping to get a reaction from me about that. I don't know if it was all staged or if that's how he really feels. I don't know. I don't feel like that. I've never felt like that. Um, and I let him know at that point. I didn't get upset or angry or anything like that. You know, I've in the past had people, sure, I've heard people say racist things, but I just didn't feel it was really appropriate in the workplace, because it does make you sort of uncomfortable when someone does that. At that time, I didn't get angry, anything like that. Basically, just said, I disagree with you, and made that clear. And at my review with my manager, to get anybody in trouble or to do anything that happened, I didn't say the person's name at all. It wasn't my intention to get anybody in trouble. I didn't make a big deal about it or anything. I just simply mentioned that this happened, that it made me sort of uncomfortable. And so he wanted me to tell him who the person was, and he sent me to Human Resources. And that's really when everything changed. I mean, they treated me like I was some crazy person, and I'd always had, a stable history, good job history, had gotten good reviews before that. And at that time, things started happening. Like, I had a coworker who was being laid off at the time and let go come in there, ask if I wanted to go to lunch, and then she made a comment that she said to me, "You've been set up," and like I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know. And after that, it started in the workplace where people would make me feel uncomfortable and isolated by doing things like whistling whenever I would come around. They would do repeated motions whenever they saw me, like something like brush their hair, do something like this. It's some sort of game that goes on that I had no idea happened. And it could cost me a job. It cost me, quality time at my kids' events, because this went out into the community. Even after I left that job, um, apparently it's a word of mouth sort of thing that happens where people um, pass this on, because it was very apparent and it was very obvious. And I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to get sympathy or empathy or anything. And it went on from 2011 to about 2014, the fall of 2014. And it got pretty extreme, where I couldn't go anywhere without this happening. And to me, not knowing that this is the way people act in society, apparently, and it's just condoned, I didn't have no idea. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I don't. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. I'm telling the absolute truth. And it's cost me a lot. And people would drive by my house blaring their radios. They would, not directly to my face, but when they'd see me come around, they'd spit. They would call me, not directly, to my face, like at me, because, in the workplace that could get them in trouble, but mention things when I was around repeatedly and very, pretty much overtly, but still with the protection of it. Well, it could just be a coincidence. No, it wasn't a coincidence after a while. It was very apparent. Um, Saying, making reference to like a rat, a dog, and I can't say for sure that the racial incident was anything, but that is when it started. And I think there's other things that they didn't like about me or possibly had against me, but I grew up, believing that everyone has rights in this country, and that's changed. I mean, I don't honestly know what it was that they had against me or why they targeted me for this treatment. I can only come up with theories, and I've tried to do that over and over again in my head, but I really don't know because they never came out and said to my face what it was that they have a problem with. And it's hard because it's not a particular person that hurt you in the past that you can just move on and forgive that person. It changes your whole view of how society works and what people can get away with. And it kind of shattered my illusion of liberty and justice for all, which I know that's definitely an illusion in this country, unfortunately. But that the fact that people have a right to go out, or not even a right, that they just do. There's this group of people that just go out and target people. It started in Minnesota. I can't say that it's limited to Minnesota from what I experienced, but it's something. There's one thing that they refer to as phishing, and I think that's picking out a target to harass and bully. And I see all these anti-bullying websites, and I think they're great. Tell kids don't bully, and bullying's a vicious cycle that never ends because you're basically hurting someone who's going to be hurt, then they're going to go out and hurt somebody else. But adults are doing it with, it's condoned. Adults are condoning this behavior in each other and displaying that for their kids. So what are their kids supposed to think? And I don't even know that any of this anti-bullying stuff is real. And I've kind of came right out and said, do you want to hear my story about how adults bully each other? Deaf ears, No one wants to talk about it. It's all in the dark. No one wants to do anything about it. And I just find that very sad because it's really showing an example to our kids that, people were bullying me that I don't even know, and I'm sure that really don't know me. And there must be a reason, unless I'm some sort of a random target, which would make no sense whatsoever. And I'm willing to put myself out there by making this video, and for a long time, I was scared to do this because people are going to think I'm crazy and, call me names again, and maybe nothing will happen, and at this point, I don't really care what happens, but, one of the things they like to, refer to you as when this is going on is a deer in the headlights. And I just want anyone to know out there that if this happens to them and they start getting treated like this and they start getting bullied and harassed in their community, contact me and reach out, because I had nobody stand up for me, and I will stand up for you. I may not be a powerful person, and I may not have connections, and I may not have any power other than I would be there to acknowledge that what you're saying is the truth. And this does happen. It shouldn't happen in this country where everyone is supposed to have rights and everyone's supposed to be treated equally. And I can't stay silent. I've stayed silent about other things in the past in my life, and I just can't. I can't do that anymore. So I'm willing to be called a crazy deer in the headlights, or a dog, or a rat, or whatever it is that you want to call me, and whatever form your hate wants to take. I'm willing to have that. But to stay silent, I can't do that because I can't have that on my shoulders. If this treatment is considered the norm and it's what's going on for other people, I can't live with myself. It might be too late for me to. I can't change what happened, and it happened for a long time, and it affects a person a lot, and it hurts a person. I really didn't have much anger before this, and not, everyone has negative emotions, of course, but I wasn't overly negative or didn't dwell on them, and I really did think that people were basically good. I knew there were some bad people out there, but I didn't think that the good people would just go along with doing this to a person. And I should have known better, because there's been experiments where people have just gone along with something even though they know it hurts a person, which to me is not what our society needs, and it's not what our world needs right now. So I have to speak out. I've started a website and also a Facebook page called Rand Max Kindness. As a result of this, So if you see, and another thing is, I've had outbursts in public because of this, and to anyone that doesn't know the history of what's happened to me, they would think, this person's out there and crazy. But I just want to caution you to not judge people too quickly or too harshly, because you don't know what circumstances they've had to face, and you don't know, their reality might be totally different from the reality you're experiencing. I know this does exist, and this is the truth. And I know it may not happen to a lot of people, but I know, just from what I gained through this experience and talking to other people, that it does happen to other people. So, like I said, if you're in this situation, I will do whatever I can for you. If it just takes someone to listen to you and believe you, I will do that. And I will offer you any kindness that I can, because I know exactly, I can empathize with you, and I know exactly what it feels like to be in this situation. I still don't understand why people do these things to other human beings, and why anyone would treat anyone less than human, because I would never do that to anybody. And they can call me any name in the book, but it doesn't change the truth that I would never, never, ever do that to anybody. I'd like to put out, I don't want to say a challenge, because then I'll get, I don't want to perpetuate the, me versus you culture that is really harming our world and our country right now. But I would like to, I don't know, I call it a challenge, but I would like to just offer that if any of the people that participated in this, and they know who they are very well, if they chose to participate in hurting me and my family, that they would come forward and talk to me one-on-one and explain to me why and what the purpose of it was, so maybe I can understand. Because I don't see, I won't say that nothing good came from this experience, but a lot worse could have come from this experience, and some really negative things did come from this experience, and I'm still having issues dealing with some of the emotions that came up through this. Because it changes sort of your view of people in general when you can't, narrow it down to one bully or one group of bullies, and you can say, well, that's just that group, and basically people are good. And unfortunately, this was so widespread, the bullying and abuse, that I can't say that anymore. I know there's good people out there, but when I go out in public, I have the reaction that, this is going to happen, and even when it's not. It's not about being tough or winning. It's not about making me stronger. If that's what people think bullying is about, you're wrong. You can do so much more by encouraging a person. You can do so much more with love and kindness than you can with, bullying just breeds more bullying, and bullying breeds, unkindness breeds more unkindness, and that's a fact. I've witnessed that, I've seen it, and I've experienced it. So I'm not sure if there's anything else that I want to say, but I have to talk. I can't keep it in. I really can't. I can't stay silent about this. And I know there's going to be people out there like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. This doesn't happen. Because I've seen that for 3 years, where people just deny what they're doing. And if there's some good I actually, at part of the time when this was going on, I actually believed that there might be some positive purpose, that maybe people were doing this for my own good. But I don't think so. I think it's just fun and games and bullying, but unfortunately it's not fun and games, because people get really hurt by it. My kids got hurt by it. My family got hurt by it. I lost a job that I worked really hard at, and I got good reviews and positive, and got promoted. I was doing really well there for 6 years. And if someone had a problem with me on a personal level, or something I did or something about me that they don't like, they should have had the courage to come to me and just talk to me about it and address it and bring it out into the open, and not play these games. And, I kind of took the bait and got angry about it, and I still have some anger about it, but I really hope in the long run that there's something that comes from this, that there was more to it than about just feeding people's egos, or having fun with a person that they didn't like, and hurting a person that they didn't like. Because I still want to think that people are better than that. I really do. So anyway, if you have any feedback, or if you've experienced anything like this, or you want to come forward or have any questions, I'd be definitely willing to talk to you and go into more detail about what happened, and very detailed things about what happened to me. But no one should feel like they don't have a voice in this country. No one should feel that way, because that is not what this country's about. And my initial statement about what happened with the racial comments has been kind of eating at me recently because of everything in the news. I mean, that's been going on with the Black Lives Matter and the Confederate flag being an issue and all the shootings. And it's made me think about all the symbols that are out there that people identify with and stand behind. People see good and bad in all symbols, and some have some very strong identifications with some symbols, either in a good way or a bad way. But I'm just asking you to think about this, something that I've been thinking about, whether it's I've been treated poorly by people who have a Christian fish symbol on their car and wear a cross around their neck. To some people back in 1940s, the Nazi flag meant patriotism and nationalism, and we know, what a horrendous thing that is. That symbol represents for a lot of people today, as well as the Confederate flag and other symbols, and any symbols of religion, country, any flag, anything. And you can call me any name in the book for saying this if that's how you feel or that's what you want to do, but I would not put any symbol over another human being. And I don't know what this was all about, but if it's about singling me out or making an example of me or making me a poster story for something, if the things you say you stand for meant anything, you would have come out in the public and you would have had the courage and conviction to, address that honestly in an honest way and not be behind the back and play games or bullying. But I just want to ask you one question, I guess, to finish up. What symbol or what reason would make you hurt another human being? What symbol would make you say really horrendous things about a person that you may or may not even know the truth about? There might be more to this story. Like I said, if anyone wants to contact me, if anyone cares, they can know the details. I'd be more than happy to discuss them with it. I just think until we say that we wouldn't put anything ahead of each other and ahead of other human beings, I don't think people are going to evolve until that point. That's how I feel, and I'm hoping more people will join me to feel that way, because a lot of the problems in the world are just created by ourselves and our insistence on clinging to things, and sometimes we don't even think about those things. What does that really mean? What would make you hurt another person? If you don't respond to this, if you want to call me crazy, if you want to call me a rat, a dog, a deer in the headlights, whatever the games you play, how much denial you put out there for what you do, I'll always know that I didn't participate in that, and I always know that at least I tried, and at least I spoke the truth. I just want you to think about that, if you think about it at all, and what symbol or ideals would make you hurt a person.